Alright then, ladies and gents, let's begin. Perfect posture as always, so up nice and tall, in with the chin, little squeeze the bottom and draw the belly in nice and tight. Just nice big lift of the arms, drop them around to the right, stretch up high and then drop them to the left. So as you lift your arms, try not to let the ribs lift, so you're slightly holding the ribs down so we get more mobility and stretch into the shoulders. Whenever you're ready, you can start to lift the heels, just pressing through the balls of the feet. And turning the head, so as you drop the arms to the right, look around to the right hand side and then around to your left. Keeping the knees slightly soft as you lift your heels, so it just encourages a little bit more stability work around the ankles, the knees and your hips. And your last one over to your left. Take a wrap and take a step. So you let your weight shift over to your right foot and then pulling yourself back in with your left leg. So we start to stretch and work into the inner thigh, and the whole time we're keeping nice length and alignment through the spine. So when you rise, try and turn the shoulders a little further around now to your left, but keep the hips really square to the front. So get that little extra stretch, a little bit of extra work through the waist and through the spine. And once more. Staying across, squaring the hips to the front and straighten the legs, and then your hips move over to the left. Keeping the right foot pressed down to the floor, and try and squeeze the front of your thighs so your legs stay straight. And nice big lift up with the elbow. As you tip to the side, try and get the length into the spine. And then you can start to reach your arm out a little further. And as you reach your arm further across to the right, you should feel a little bit more stretch coming into the hips, into the inner thighs. So again, to feel that stretch, we need to maybe lift the left hip a little higher. I'll learn the left and right in a second. And twice more. Breathing out to open, a little breath in to release. And then turn your right foot to the side. Bend your right knee. And then turn your left foot to a slight diagonal, so about 5 past the hour. Knee over heel, let your backhand slide down towards the knee, a little side bend, and then straighten your front leg. So again, bending the front knee, take a little reach over, and then rising. So breathing out as you bring that C shape into your spine. Little breath in as you rise, and use the out breath to find the stretch. As you lift the arm, feel the ribs just gently lifting away from the hips. And again, try and stretch into your fingertips on both hands. So your left hand sliding towards or past the knee, and your right arm reaching that little bit further. And holding in centre. Pivot on your back foot, so you've got your 10 toes facing to the right, hands behind the back. And again, straighten the legs and square the hips. So you might find, as you tip forward, your left hip wants to almost turn to the diagonal. So if you keep squeezing your left buttock to keep the hips square as you hinge forward. Then we can focus on lifting the bottom. So get a nice stretch into the back of the hamstrings, down the back of the thigh. At the same time, I want to be thinking about our posture. So a little squeeze between the shoulder blades. So as you hinge forward, again, we're keeping that length into the spine. And bit by bit, you can think about lifting your bottom just a little higher to find more stretch and release into the hamstrings. Breathe out as you tip forward and then easing in to your last one. Turning everything back to the front and bringing your feet back under your hips. Wrap the arms to the right, hips stay square, and then wrap them up to the left as you step across to your left. Again, as you stride across, still keep the head drawn up to the ceiling. So you're keeping the shoulders stacked above the hips and not turning your shoulders across to the left hand side. Keeping them high, keeping your collarbones nice and open. And then as you step in, turn around to the right, but keep the hips square to the front. And that's going to encourage a little bit more work again into the waist and more rotation through your spine. Let the shoulders relax. Let the arms just naturally wrap around the waist. And twice more. Pulling in with your right leg and then stepping across this time and staying across. So squaring the hips to the front, turn your left foot out to a slight diagonal, and then push your hip to the right and lift your right hip gently up to the ceiling. If you feel that left hip drops back as you tip, squeeze your left buttocks. Again, you're trying to get the hips really square to the front. You might not move as far into the side bend, but you will discover a little bit more stretch in that left inner thigh. And if you want a little bit more, lift the right hip up. Breathe out with the tip. So using your out breath allows those muscles just to relax a little further. Pulling the right elbow up towards the ceiling and still trying to get your collarbones really open. So still got a connection between the shoulder blades, gently holding them together the whole time, and twice more. Reaching a little further if you can. And then holding, turning the left foot to the side, right foot to a slight diagonal, stacking the knee over the heel. When you're ready, breathe in and lift, and then breathe out, C-shape your spine. Take a breath in, straighten the front leg as you rise, and then push the knee forward over the heel, and at the same time sliding your right hand down towards that right knee. Now again, try and lengthen the top arm. So trying to get it as straight as you can, so you start to feel the front of your ribs lifting away from your hips. Breathing out through the mouth and a breath in through the nose. And 3 to go here. Just get the spine moving, the waist stretching, and your last one. And then hold. Turning to the left, straightening both legs and squaring the hips. Roll the shoulders back and down, and then keeping the shoulders back and down as you tip forward from the hips. So as you hinge forward, try not to let the shoulders roll forward. We don't want to round the upper back. We want to keep as much length through the spine as we can. And let that length come through the spine and all the way through the neck. And lift the bottom. Try not to let that front knee bend. Squeeze your front thigh so it's a really straight leg. And then see how far you can comfortably pull your bottom back just to find the stretch into your hamstrings. Oh, I need that stretch this morning. Quite tight hamstrings. Your last one. And then holding in centre. Keep the feet out wide, and let's come into our wide squat. So the toes out to 11 and 1, as are the knees. The bottom's tucked, and we're going to come down into a squat with a double arm float. And we're going to add a little rotation from side to side. Lower the arms and rise. So shoulders stay down, little tuck at the bottom. And as you turn the upper body, you're really focused on keeping the hips still. So if you tuck the bottom, and then as you turn the upper body, keep gently pressing the knees out towards your little toes. That's going to help switch on the abs thighs. So encourage a little bit more stretch through the inner thighs. And again, think about the shoulders. Keep them drop down as you lift the arms. Little tuck at the bottom to help stabilise the hips as you turn. And then lower the hands and rise. Breathe in, out. Big breath in, out to close, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and rise. And twice more. Tuck the bottom first. That tuck at the bottom and that press out with the knees is what's going to help stabilise your pelvis as you turn your upper body and hold more work in your thighs. And then lower the hands and rise. Grab on weights, let's get moving. So we're going to come from inner thighs to side lunges, which is going to work your inner thighs, to lunges. So we're just going to have the weight here on the shoulder. Elbow in, so your armpits squeeze closed. Stepping out to a side lunge. Then step back to a lunge and add a press. Bring it to your shoulder, step wide, and then step back and press. Breathing in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. No rush, nice and slow, so we keep each part of the movement controlled. And it gives us plenty of time to think about the alignment of the spine. Keeping the belly softly drawn towards the spine. Keeping the shoulders right above the hips here. And if it feels okay, maybe a little wider. maybe a little longer. Now each time you bring the weight down towards the front of the shoulder, keep lifting your chest. So we keep your shoulders back in a nice strong set position. Raising the core as you extend. And we're going to do that once more. Wide step, long stride back, hold here. Bring the weight down, so the elbow is in, tricep kick back and down into your lunge. So you're going to push your chest forward over your front thigh. Try to get the elbow tucked in right by the side of your rib cage. So the upper arm stays still, and as the tip forward and straighten the arm, that's where we target our triceps. We're also thinking about our core as we hinge forward. Keep that length, the alignment of the neck and the spine. Push out the heel as you come forwards. As you go down to the lunge, tuck your tailbone under. So get that little stretch into the hip flexors. 2 to go here. Slow breath. Breathe out, brace your core. Your last one. Place your foot down. Keep your weight forward in your front heel. From here, out to a fly and into a bicep curl. So we're going to keep everything else perfectly still. Collarbones open. Tailbone drawn down to the front heel, back heel, sorry. Tailbone just slightly tucked under. And as you're moving your left arm, try to keep your shoulders, the trunk of the body still. The weight staying placed in your left heel. And try and make your right foot a little bit lighter. So you can take your body weight a little further forwards. Not locking out your left knee. Keeping the weight placed in the heel. 2. Don't let the body sway. So core nice and strong all the way through. And step in. Change sides. So side lunge and backward step and lunge. So we start with the weight here. Chin in, big stride across. Hold the weight in front of the shoulders, sit back into your hips. Stride back and press. So again, think about the alignment of the spine as you move from one position to the other. And just move as slowly as you need to. So again, it's all about that control. Try not to change the alignment of the spine as we move from one position to the other. And if it feels okay, you can go a little bit wider, or maybe a little bit longer. As you step across, keep that right foot pressed to the floor. And as you go into the side lunge, just pull your hips a little further back. That's how we get more stretch into that inner thigh. It's going to make it work hard to pull us back up to centre. As you go down to the lunge at the back, tucking your tailbone, feeling the stretch into the hip flexor, and breathe in. Breathe in as you stride across. Breathe out to push the weight and step back. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Once more. Hold in at the back. Bring the elbow down, so elbows tucked in. Bend the back knee, and then tip forward and take your tricep press. Turn your left palm to the front, so you can pull that left shoulder blade in towards the spine. So by holding the shoulder blade in, when we hinge forward, it's going to make it easier to keep our neutral spine and not let the back round as we tip forwards. Squeeze into the back of the arm. Try and reach the back of the room and feel that breath guiding your movement. The out breath here when you need it most for your balance and for your core. Push out the front heel. And just try and make sure each time you bring that back foot down, the feet are still hip distance apart. Feel like it's the crown of the head that points forward. Tailbone drawing back to the heels. 2 to go. Then we're going to find balance and stability. Let your back foot just rest down lightly. Keep the weight in that front heel. Once you've got your balance, come to the shoulder and then out to the side. To the shoulder and out to the side. You might find this right knee want to drop in a little, so keep opening the knee from the hip. As you open that kneecap to the front, you should feel a little bit more work through the outer thigh. And if the weight's gone forward into the toes, just pull the hips a little further back. So you can really feel the weight planted through your heel. Tailbone now, draw it down towards that back heel. So you're lengthening your lower back. Pulling the belly button softly to the spine. And pulling both shoulder blades down into the back of the ribs. It's a perfect, grounded, strong, lengthened position. Once more each way. And then step in. Shake out your legs. Right, weight to your collarbones, your elbows in. Roll the shoulders back. We're going to do 3 squats, going a little bit wider each time. So feet just outside the hips. I want you to squat. As you rise, step a little bit wider. Squat. As you rise, step a little bit wider. And then step back in mid-stance. So one in mid-stance. One a little bit wider. And then wider still. Bending both knees. And step in. So breathe in, squat. Breathe out, smaller step. Bigger step. Push out the knees. And back to mid-stance. So we go down, out more, and then just under the hips. Breathe in, step a little wider. Try not to straighten the legs fully as you rise. So here they're straight. Come up about 2/3 of the way as you step, and then back down into your squat. And then back down into your squat, and step together. So down, halfway up, down, wider, and step in. 2 to go. Hips back, chest up high, knees open, wider with the knees, and step together. One more time. Down, open a little bit more, and a big step together. Changing sides. So from here, small squat, step out to your left, step back into the hips, step a little wider, and then step your feet just outside the hips. Down, 2/3, so halfway up, and then step in and rise at the centre. So you're trying to try and stay as low as you can as you step out. Make sure you keep the weight even in both heels as you squat. Bend both knees lots and step in. Chest up nice and high, so you're still lifting your breastbone up towards your weight. And then a big push in. Breathe in, out and step wider. A little bit wider, and a big step in. And twice more. Brace in your core through your squats. Out the knees, and in. One more time. Back and down, wider. Wider still, and then step in and hold. Bring your weight down to your thighs. Roll the shoulders back, setting your posture, lifting your right heel, and we're going to take a tip forward with bicep curl, and then tap in as you rise. So both elbows locked into your ribs. Hinge from the hips, come up tall. Hinge from the hips, come up tall. So you're bringing your weight just towards your collarbones. Now once you're here, see if you can hold, extend the weight, and then reset. Even if it means pushing it forward rather than a diagonal. Light tap of the foot each time, and to the thighs as you rise. Core on, a bit small diagonal. And when you take the weight out to the diagonal, draw the abdominals in. Pull it back to your collarbones, then to your thighs. Now try and keep the weight in your standing heel. Try not to put the foot on the floor, or if you need to, rest it lightly on the ground. Keep the shoulder blades squeezed back and down. 2 more here. Your last one. Holding, extending. Now just step in, keep the plate here and take it above the head. Squeezing with the elbows. Try and keep the weight now just in your left heel. Make your right foot light. Little tuck at the bottom. Really reach down towards the base of the neck. And you're looking forward, so you're keeping the crown of the head pulled up to the ceiling. The elbows want to wing, squeeze them in. And just try and find a stretch down the back of the arms at the base. Then squeeze the back of the arms to extend. Now think about the ribs. Don't let the ribs be pushing forward. Draw them slightly down using the upper abdominals. And just once more here. And then bring it back to your breastbone, back to your thighs. So lift your left heel. Set the shoulders, lift the left heel. Just go with a step first. So take your step back, hinge, and step in. Or again, you can hinge the leg forward, back, and take your chest forward. Or stay with the step. Brace your core as you tip forward. And try not to lock out your right knee. So still that bend in that right knee. And we hold, extend to a diagonal. Pull it back and reset. Again, you can keep the foot down on the ground. You don't even have to take the weight high. You can just push it forwards, pull it back and reset. Again, we're still trying to keep a little softness in that standing leg. And that's what's going to encourage the muscles to work around the knee, the hip and the ankle. Definitely the hips. Again, think about your core. Don't let the position of the spine change from here to here. So make a point of making a really strong set position here. And try to keep the balance as you move. It's gone. 2 more. And your last one. Pressing. Bring it the collarbones, just step your left foot down lightly. Extend the arms up and squeeze the elbows in. And again with a little tuck at the bottom, so it helps to lengthen out the lower back. Drawing the ribs gently down at the front, switch on the upper abdominals. And try and allow your triceps to stretch. Let the arms, the weight go a little lower. But again, if you're taking the weight lower, just try and make sure that's not coming from the back bending. Want to keep the trunk nice and still. And let the arms do the stretching and the pushing back up to the ceiling. Breathing in as you lower. Keep the tailbone tucked to move on through to spine. And just 2 more here. And your last one. And bring it down. Well, I thought Wednesday was warm. It's got warm now. We're going to come down onto the floor when you're ready. Let's come into a box position first. We're going to keep focused on the back of the shoulder. So again, think about the muscles that we use to stabilise our shoulder girdle and our upper back for strong posture. So if you place your left hand under your shoulder and just glance and check the knees at hip distance apart, and then gently take your body weight forwards. We're going to bring the arm out to the side and back to centre. Now we're trying to make sure as we lift the arm we're not turning the chest. Keep your shoulders nice and square to the floor. The crown of the head is pulling forward and tailbone softly back. We're going to breathe out as we slowly lift the arm and a slow breath in as you release the hand just back in line with the shoulder. Now you can start to add in your left leg. Just slide it back and bring it back under the hip. Trying to make sure that as you bring the knee in, staying hip distance apart the whole time. Your shoulders and hips staying square to the floor. Breathing out through the mouth each time you open. So you're switching on your core just before you move the arm and leg. Keep pressing through the heel of your left hand. 2 more here. Feel it in your core, feel it in your obliques. And then hold. Changing sides. Take your weight into your left hand. And again, want the shoulders and the hips nice and square. Take your body weight forward and roll back with the shoulder, so you've got your shoulder girdle in set position. Just the arm, no higher than the shoulder, and trying to turn with the weight. So you're trying to keep from the crown of your head to your tailbone lengthened and still. Then, when you're there, you can start to add in the right leg. Slide it back first, so you're lengthening the leg first, before you squeeze your bum to lift the leg. Length first and then lift. Each time we just stretch back into your toes. Use the out breath as you start to lift. Now see if you can just take a little bit more body weight forwards. You're pushing your head a little further forward of your hand. Now that gets your core working a little harder. 3 to go. Still feeling that shoulder blade squeezing in towards the spine. Your last one. And hold. Come into seated. Good for your obliques as well as that one. Shoulders and everything else in between. So in a seated position, let's get some rolling through the spine. Weight just in front of the collarbones and your elbows in, so your elbows are physically hovering above your hip bones. Neck nice and long, so you're looking forwards. Roll down, maybe just a third of the way, or maybe halfway down. Bringing your spine to a C shape, and then lengthen your spine at the top. Now trying to never look down at the floor or up at the ceiling. That way we're going to keep the alignment of the neck and encourage more movement through the spine. And if you feel you've got a bit more movement available, maybe roll down a little further. Keep the chin nodded in. No matter how far you're rolling back, keep your eye gaze firmly fixed forwards. And then breathe. In as you ease down. Breathe out, rise. Try and feel the roll of your spine. One vertebra in the next, lowering down. And then one vertebra in the next, rising. I've got a squeaky floorboard. 2 more here. And your last one. Now we're going to come all the way down. So your own time, coming all the way down, whichever way feels best. And then we're going to take the weights up in your right hand. Turn the palm in, so your palm turns towards the body, and you set your shoulder away from your ear. Little nod in with the chin. Now you can keep the feet on the floor and slide the heel on knees above your hips. You can lower the foot halfway down, add in a tricep press. Just move in your left leg with your right arm. Ribs slightly drawn down at the front, pulling slightly up with the pubic bone. Now once you've lowered the leg, your option is to extend it. So you'll lower and then extend and pull back. So you come into that first move and then stretching the toes forwards. And the focus is to keep that lower back down on the ground. The chin staying nodded in. And then just checking on your shoulders. Keeping both shoulders anchored to the ground. 2 more. Little breath in, out breath, and hold. Bring the legs down. Take the weight in both hands. Heels close, we're going to release the hips with the hip bridges. Roll through the spine. Press down through the shoulders and up with the hips. Now keeping the ribs in place, we're going to take a pull over. And then we're going to just simply roll back down through the spine. So knees just hip distance apart. Now when you take the arms back, you'll find 2 things might want to happen. First thing is your ribs are going to want to flare. So draw the ribs down first and try and hold the ribs down as you stretch the arms back. That way you're challenging your upper abdominals to maintain the alignment of the position through the ribs and the upper back. Now the next thing what tends to happen is the elbows then want to bend, trying to get the weight to the floor. And it's not about getting the weight to the floor, it's more about trying to get your arms straight as you reach them back. And that's where you'll feel a little bit more stretch in and around the shoulder joints. Now as you reach the arms back, don't let the hips drop, keep them up nice and high. And we're going to do 2 more there before we come back to the tricep extension with the knee drop. And then we're going to come back to the hip bridges and make them a little bit harder on the next round. Weight in your left hand when you're ready. Feet can stay on the floor, you can take a heel slide on knees above your hips with a soft imprint. Lowering your right leg, keeping the knee at 90 degrees.
So as you lower the leg, I want you to feel that you're moving from the hip joint and then bring the knee directly back above the hip. Try not to bring the knee over the belly, because then it's the weight of the knee that keeps the back on the floor. I want you to draw that belly button down, almost nail it through towards the spine and keep it held there as you move the arm and leg. And then if you want to add on a little bit more work for your core, keeping the back down, extend the leg and then pull it back. It's like you're cycling backwards. Breathing in. Slow breath in, strong breath. And every time you rise, feel like you're pulling your belly button a little deeper down towards the spine. 4 more. Stretch the toes. Brace. Keep bracing. Checking on the shoulders. Pull the shoulders in, anchor to the ground. Your last one. And hold. Bring the feet close. Take the weight. You can say that hip bridge we did before with the feet firmly on the ground, or we're adding knee lifts. So from here, we're going to rise. Keep the bottom squeezed. Now you can take a leg extension. Lift your right heel, then extend your right leg. Ball of the foot and heel down. Then your left heel, left leg extends. Ball of the foot, then heel down and roll down. With the arms if you want to. So once you're at the top, lift your right heel. Squeeze your right thigh, take a pull over. Ball of the foot, then the heel. Lift your left heel. Squeeze your left thigh to extend the leg. Back onto the ball of the foot, heel down, and then roll down. So for more focus into our glutes. Lift your right heel, squeeze your left buttock. Keep that left buttock squeezed as you extend the leg. And then again, lift the heel, then squeeze the thigh. And it's important to lift the heel first so we can really set our position. So before you try and kick the leg forward, lift the heel, then squeeze your bum. And it should be easier just to extend from the knee. Squeezing the front of the thigh. And your challenge is, when you extend the leg, not letting the hips sink down to the floor. Push the hips up high, keep them there. Don't forget to come onto the ball of the foot, then the heel. Smooth transition from one foot to the next. 2 more here. Nodding in the chin. Again, checking on the ribs as the arms go back. Try not to let the ribs flare. Control the roll down. Once more, squeeze first, lift the heel, keep the ribs in place and arms straight. Transition. And then easing down and relaxing. Come on to your side. See if you can relax at some point. It's not now though. With your weight on your thigh, if you want to work a little bit harder, we're going to stack the knees in a clam position, but we're going to use the abductor first, the outer thigh, to take the hip knee away from the body. So your hips are stacked, knees are at 90 degrees, and lift the whole leg and lower the leg. So you try not to let your pelvis roll back. So if you lift too high, you can feel the hip rolls back. We're not trying to do a clam, we're trying to push the knee up to the ceiling. Breathing out with the lift, and a breath in as we lower. Then we're going to add in a leg extension. So once you've lifted the leg, take it out straight, bring the knee back in line with your bottom knee and lower the whole leg. So you're lifting, extending, centre and lower. Thinking about the hips. Again, we're trying to move from the hip joint. And we're also trying to use our core to stabilise our pelvis. No rush. Squeeze the front of the thigh, stretch into the toes. Keep the hip away from the rib and lower the whole leg. Now this time, instead of lowering the leg, just let your knee hover above your bottom knee. Rotate the knee down, back to centre, and then extend. So your knee comes forward. Knee to knee level, back out straight. So forward, Almost lift the foot towards the ceiling, level the knee, and then stretch out the leg. Breathe. In, out. Breath in, breathe out, push. Now again, try not to let the hip move to the rib. So every time you extend your leg, try and make it that little bit longer. It like keeps the hip away from the rib. Once more. Just the knee rotator for 8. Knee, level. 7, level. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. And your last one. And hold, lower it down. You might want to give that hip, that buttock a little rub. Let's do the other side when you're ready. So in your own time, if you can get up, go into the opposite side with your clam. Well, it's not a clam, it's clam position, but we're not doing a clam. It's worse than a clam. So again, if you want to use the weight even for the first set, then you can put the weight down if you want. It just creates a little bit more resistance and build a little bit more strength in the hips. Stacking the knees, hip away from the rib, and when you're ready, lifting the whole leg and lowering the leg. So you're trying to keep your foot in line with your knee. And you're pushing through the outer thigh. Very aware that as you lift the knee, the pelvis itself isn't rolling back. Breathing out with the lift, and a breath in as you release. And when you start to lift this top leg, you should still feel the muscles around that bottom hip doing some work too. Let's that on when you're ready. Hold, straighten out the leg, legs just level with the hip. Bring the knee level and lower. So 1, extend, forward and release. And no rush. It's a nice, smooth, controlled movement. And as you keep that movement really slow and controlled, that's going to encourage more endurance around the muscles that help stabilise the hips. And this muscle doesn't only stabilise the hip, but it comes down and stabilises the knees too. And it's these muscles we try and work through squats, and we're trying to keep the knees open from the hips. These are the muscles. And I've had a good workout already today with those wide squats. Once more. Now we're not going to rest the knee, we're going to hold it here, turn the knee down to centre and extend. So I've just taken out your little rest in between. Breathe in, breathe out, push. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, no rushing, really focused on keeping the pelvis still. And the more time we take to keep that pelvis still, the more work we're going to feel in around this hip. Each time you extend your leg, try and make it that little bit longer. We're going to do that just one more time. Second leg's always hardest because that's been stabilising as we're moving the other leg. Just your rotator. So again, rotate, just level, lifting the foot, level with the hip. Again, try not to push the ribs forward. Just 3 left here. Try not to let the pelvis roll back so it's all in the hip. And your last one, and lower. And you may want to rub that hip too. I know I do. Right, so I think we'll give those a stretch. So let's come on to our backs. We'll do the figure 4 stretch, which is really good for the hips. Knees want to be just at 90 degrees in line with your hips. Then lift up your right leg, place it over your left thigh. Gently press your left buttock down to the floor and encourage your right knee away. What tends to happen is the hips want to roll over towards that right knee. So it's really important to still press down with your left buttock. If you want to take the stretch a little further, take the hands behind your left thigh, hug the knee gently in, and then push the right knee gently away. If or when that stretch releases, you can then try and gently press your bottom, your tailbone, back down to the floor. So if you like, it brings that length back into your lower back and it brings you back into a neutral spine and a neutral pelvis. So getting a much deeper stretch then around the right hip. It's rather nice, especially after all that work. And then release your foot down when you're ready. Change sides, so bringing your right foot down. Take your left foot over. Again, anchor the right hip first and then encourage your left knee away while still very focused on pressing the right buttock down into the floor. You want more, take it behind the thighs, hooking in the knee. Oh, that definitely needs that stretch today. And again, if you feel you want a little bit more and that stretch starts to ease, think about trying to bring your lower back into neutral by pressing down with the bottom. So it brings that length back into your spine. And then let the breath do the rest. Breathe in nice and deep to your hips. Breathe out, try and press the knee further away or the bottom further down to the ground. Not to a point of pain, should be a mild stretch, but an effective one. And then release your legs when you're ready. Take the hands behind your thighs, push your thighs into your hands, that helps to engage lower abs. And tuck in your chin, keep pushing the legs forward now and roll yourself up. I think we'll do a nice little stretch for the spine. Take out your right leg. Left leg over your right, and again pin your left hip down. Wrapping your right arm around your knee and placing your left hand really close to your bottom. Push the left hand into the floor to try and make yourself a little bit taller. And then roll your left shoulder back and turn your eye gaze around to the left while hugging your knee into your shoulder. So we're getting still release through the hips, we're getting that release through the spine. And if you turn your head a little, keep the crown of the head drawn up to the ceiling, you'll get a little stretch and release through the neck too. And let's try the other side when you're ready. Left leg comes out. Right leg up and over. Again, the hips maybe want to twist if the hips are tight, so try and push down at the bottom first. Lift the chest. Try not to bring your shoulder to your knee. Once you've got this knee, pull the knee into the shoulder rather than letting the shoulder come forwards. Front of your ribs lifted really high. Right hand, push it into the floor to make yourself taller. Then when you feel you've got a little bit more space between each of your vertebrae, then see if you can encourage a little bit more rotation. Try and lengthen the back of the neck, pull up through the crown of the head. Then try and turn your head gently around to the back of the room. Breathe. And relax. Working our way up. When you're ready, come around onto your hands and your knees. From your cat stretch position, draw belly to the spine and then pull back with your hips and then come forward and take a cow. If you don't like the movement backwards and forwards, you can just stay in the centre with your cat and your cow. Tuck the bottom under, keep pressing the hands down into the floor as you tuck your bottom under and pull back with the hips. And just slightly let your ribs, your chest lift. Breathing in as you come forwards, and then breathe out to pull back. This time, as we pull back, we're going to lift the knees. So pull back, tuck your toes, lift the knees, lift the hips, walk the feet forward or the hands back, bending the knees as much as you need to, relaxing the neck, the shoulders and your spine, and then lift your belly towards your back. Take a breath in. Use that out breath. Just easing up vertebrae by vertebrae. And then as you rise all the way to the top, the shoulders get rolled back, and then take a little wrap around to the right and around to your left. Don't let the hips turn. Try to get the hip bones facing forwards. Reach the outside of the hip. Look all the way around to the side of the room and keep pulling up through the crown of your head So it's keeping that length into the spine as you turn. And once more each way. Into the centre, and you can shrug it all the way. Lift them up, let them go. And again, take the breath in and release. And you're all released and free to have a good weekend. Enjoy the lovely weather if it continues.